My next patron question is from Lowell, who wants to know my thoughts on celebrities discussing their political views. There has been a lot of talk lately about celebrities getting involved in politics. Many people believe that celebrities, especially actors, should keep their political views to themselves and focus on entertaining people. Sarah Silverman, who's been so outspoken in the past, said in an interview recently that she feels like no one wants to hear from celebrities on politics anymore. Sarah Silverman was part of Gal Gadot's controversial Imagine video from 2020, where she and a bunch of other celebrities sang a song about having no material possessions, despite being mansioned surrounded by material possessions, while everyone else was dealing with a pandemic. Many felt it was an example of how most celebrities are out of touch with everyday people and have no idea what the average person is going through. However, some have argued that celebrities have a responsibility to use their platform to bring awareness to issues and to speak out. What do you think? Should celebrities, especially actors, stay in their lane and focus on entertaining the audience, or should they be able to express their thoughts on issues even if it risks dividing their fan base? My opinion has long been that, even with their status and wealth, celebrities have every right to express their political views. After all, they also live in society, vote in elections, and are impacted by certain decisions made by their governments. And even though they are entertainers, it's not like their political views don't play a role in the projects they sign on to perform or direct or produce. Everyone has their political stances, which they might choose to publicly display or not. Some choose to write about that on social media, others just do it among friends, or they keep that to themselves. Either avenue is acceptable, but the truth is you have your own political viewpoints, I have my own, which I've expressed from time to time, and so does your next door neighbor. We can also disagree with those views, which can admittedly color our perception of that celebrity. Without naming names, there's a famous actress where every time she says something I think, you're not very bright, are you? However, if she wants to say those things, that's her choice. I don't have to agree with them, and she has the privilege of living in a country where that's possible. Meanwhile, there are people who produce entertainment who don't have the same rights and get targeted by their government for saying so. Mohammad Rasulov, the Iranian director of the film The Seed of the Sacred Fig, is one such example of this. Because of him expressing views and making films critical of the Iranian regime, he has often been targeted by the government in retaliation. As a result, he fled the country and moved to Germany, which is why The Seed of the Sacred Fig was submitted as Germany's entry for the Best International Feature Oscar instead of Iran. I think people should have the freedom to criticize governments and regimes and their laws if they disagree with them. Rasulov unfortunately lived in a country where that's not allowed, but he did it through his art anyway, and it's good that he did it and was able to go someplace safe afterwards. Now, as Stan's celebrity culture has gotten bigger, there is this desire people have for their favorite ones to express the same views of their own, and they wait or get disappointed when they don't say anything. But sometimes, maybe they don't have anything to say, or they do have thoughts and decide to keep it to themselves. Just because someone is not loudly talking about an issue all the time, or going to protests or signing open letters, it does not mean they don't care about it. They just have their own way of addressing it and thinking about it. There are several political viewpoints I hold, but I don't devote my social media feed or channel to expressing every single thought that crosses my mind. There are even other people who do a better job discussing them than I ever could. You also have cases where people interpret someone's politics based on nothing. There was a lot of discussion about the politics of civil war, with people saying the film did not take a particular stance. The film's director, Alex Garland, would later say he was very frustrated with that interpretation, as he thought the message of civil war was very clear in its critique against political extremism and the damage caused when countries go too far in a particular direction. Not too long ago, a heated topic would make headlines again, and all of a sudden everyone had to take a specific stance on it one way or the other, and had to learn a bunch of history and background on this subject going back decades. And the way people would sway others towards one side or another was through yelling and name-calling, saying this is propaganda or that is propaganda, shouting down any nuanced opinion, and treating it like a World Cup final. It really feels like people struggle to have an adult conversation about this, as it just descends into insults. I say this from personal experience. If you only know how to yell and name call to make your point, then I'm not going to dignify it with a response. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about the Snow White remake and the specific political views of the lead actresses. So much internet ink has been spilled over this, with a lot of people creating imaginary versions of Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot in their heads, although what's interesting is that they have a lot more in common than people realize. Both Zegler and Gadot have advocated for an end to conflict, have gotten flack for choosing to play beloved pop culture figures, have received racist and xenophobic attacks for their racial and national backgrounds, and have provoked outrage from hardcore supporters of their country's current political leaders after they expressed criticism of them. Personally, I found the controversy over Snow White and Zegler and Gadot to be utterly ridiculous, and neither of them deserve the attacks thrown at them over this film. Obviously, when wading into political waters, there will be those who strongly disagree with that stance, or which candidate they choose to support, and it's up to the celebrities or their publicists whether this is worth openly talking about. But like I said, they have every right to say it or not, and we have every right to agree or disagree. Thank you for your question, Lowell.